Okay, so uh, we're live now, and hello everyone who joined us, and hello Long. Long is our guest today, and he's our partner. He's a founder and CEO of TomoChain, and probably I will let you introduce yourself from here. So, Long, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your background, how, yeah, basically how did you get into blockchain? What was your first steps, and where you are now?
Hello, Nathan. So thank you for inviting me here, right? And hello, everyone is watching. So my name is Long Vuong. I am a CEO and founder of TomoChain. Um, I think so. I was in blockchain since I think late 2013, right? And TomoChain is my second blockchain startup.
I know you founded one more before, right? You were working on a NEM, right?
Yes.
Okay, and NEM is actually a very, I find it a very successful startup. Um, what was your experience there? How did you come up with the idea there, and then it evolved to Tomo, I believe, right?
So I think my background was mostly research and academic before NAM, right? I study my graduate study in economics from 2006, 2014 in Massachusetts.
Okay.
I think in my final years, of course, I did a lot of study on monetary system, institutional economics, and also money. So actually, I came upon Bitcoin like in early 2013,
Okay.
right? But I didn't really care about not care, but because it was a little bit difficult to access Bitcoin at that time. So I forgot about it like in early 2013. But then there was a run up in late 2013, and I actually paid a lot of attention to Bitcoin at that point. But I think I always looking like, okay, so what else beside Bitcoin, right? So I was involved with a group working on NXT blockchain at that point, late 2013, which was like the first blockchain written in Java, right? So then in January, I just thought like, let's we can build a different chain, right? A new chain that's that can overcome some problem with governance and distribution with NXT. And then some of my friends and some people, some developer I knew from NXT and some new as a new developer came in, and yeah, that's how NAM was founded in early 2014.
So you mentioned you were studying monetary policies in the Massachusetts University, right?
Yes.
So for you, with the background, with coming from research background and knowing how basically money work, um, I I suppose Bitcoin was something very interesting, because it was kind of an answer to an existing system, right? Um, what so when you were involved in the blockchain, what was the goal? What was the vision that you wanted to deliver with the first project, and with the second project now?
Um, I think so. Like when I first came to Bitcoin, right? All I think about like a new kind of money, like internet money
Yeah.
and programmable money. So like you can actually put programming into money and do something with it, right? And the fact of decentralization and censorship resistance is also a big thing about Bitcoin. Um, So I think NAM was somewhat similar to how Bitcoin was built. It's firstly a kind of money, so a very safe way for people to transfer money. Um, Recently, I found like the idea of building kind of like like Web 3.0. So you can actually building a new kind of internet on top of blockchain. And it's not just the money anymore. It is about new application and that's giving end user more control over their data, control over their digital assets. I think the second narrative is grander in the vision.
Okay.
I think
And
that's how we are working on TomoChain right now.
okay.
Yeah.
So, what are the main for those who are not familiar with Tomo? Maybe you can give a short description. What is TomoChain? It's a fork of Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
What's more? Tell us a bit more for the audience who is not familiar.
Okay. It is a fork from Ethereum in a way that we develop something from Ethereum code base, right? One reason is it actually save a lot of time, and we don't need to reinvent everything, right?
True.
We just need to focus on what is important. But I still think like TomoChain is an independent public blockchain, right? And we actually call it like the third generation
Okay.
public blockchain, right? The first generation of public blockchain is, of course, Bitcoin.
Of course.
And the second one, right, is Ethereum.
Okay.
Right? The way Ethereum is adding programming language and allowing for a lot of developer and company to build application and protocol on top of blockchain is, I think, is a powerful, very powerful.
I have a question here in terms of Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
Their development is kind of struggling, right? We have still some time passed, and still we have very low, a very small amount of transactions on the network. The other issues, with the updates that should have been already implemented, they're not yet. So what is the problem there? Do you see the problem there? What is the Ethereum problem? If you can elaborate on that, maybe you're now competing with them in a way, right? So maybe you can name some weaknesses of your competitor, if I may call them competitor.
I think this is quite well known if you are familiar with blockchain, right? That's Ethereum blockchain is doing like 15 transactions per second at the moment.
Exactly.
The confirmation time is 15 seconds, which is superior than Bitcoin.
Yes.
But like for mainstream application, they want like much faster confirmation time, right? And the fee have to be cheaper. And I think here is the main issue that Ethereum is facing. And they have multiple attacks, right? Attack better to solve the problem. But I think like building blockchain is difficult, and it takes a lot of time, especially on the design, on the architecture design. So far, right, we actually did a lot of study on what type of approach to scaling for Ethereum and what else can they do, right? And I think we moving from Ethereum code base, but we choose some different way to scale than the Ethereum Foundation is doing at the moment.
Can you elaborate in a not very technical terms, but for a general public, like what is your approach to scaling, which is like one of the main challenges in the industry, in the blockchain industry in general, because still many experts, they agree on opinion that blockchains are kind of, any blockchain project you name it is R&D project in a way, because like everybody is trying to invent or trying to solve certain problems or improve certain things. So it's a research and development process basically. So but one of the main struggles of the industry is obviously scaling. So how Tomo is tackling that?
So at the moment, like Ethereum network have 30,000 full node, right? That's pretty impressive comparing to like 6,000 full node for Bitcoin. Basically, the Ethereum Foundation is looking at sidechain like Plasma framework. Vitalik is also moving Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake
Yeah.
in the future. They are also looking at sharding, right?
Yes.
So basically, the idea of TomoChain is we should combine on-chain scaling using masternode, right? That is basically we try to limit the amount of full node to a certain number, and enforce the rule, mathematically rule that the node have to satisfy certain requirement, technical requirement in terms of bandwidth and processing power, right? It is it's somewhat similar to what Bitcoin Cash is doing comparatively to Bitcoin,
Okay.
right? So we combine on-chain scaling with proof of stake. We actually move directly to proof of stake, which is faster than what Ethereum Foundation is doing at the moment.
And it's more environmental friendly, which is also important.
Yeah. So the key difference that TomoChain will have on the mainnet in the next several months is proof of stake.
Yeah.
On the mainnet and on-chain scaling with masternode. And in terms of masternode, right? So we have the same approach to like EOS,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
EOS is also trying on-chain scaling. They limit the number of block producer to 21, right?
Yes.
We have like more masternode.
May I interrupt you for a second? Let's say I'm a random Joe. I want to have a master node. You know, in Dash, I know I need to have 1,000 dashes to host a master node, right? What it takes to get a master node on TomoChain? What's the process?
So we look at the number, right? So we agree on that a node, right, who want to be a candidate have to deposit 50,000 Tomo.
Okay.
Into the smart contract. But the node is become a candidate, right?
Okay.
And then the other coin holder can vote for the candidate. Then we choose from top to bottom 99 master node.
How to become a good candidate? What do you need to have? Fast internet. What else? Good hardware.
Fast internet will allow for larger bandwidth, right? And basically, we have a ping, we have a dashboard that can monitor the traffic, right? If your node miss a validation turn,
okay,
then every coin holder can look at it and see, you missed a turn, you lost some revenue for the coin holder, and they will unvote you and vote for other master node.
Oh, okay. So it's self-governance in a way.
Yes. So it's pretty much on-chain governance. I think we have more emphasis on on-chain governance comparatively to Ethereum.
Okay. Yeah. Now I think we have a clear difference, like between Ethereum and Tomo in a short terms. So basically, for you developing Tomo, what is the main challenge now? Tomo, for those who don't know, Tomo is on the testnet, running on a testnet, and the team is planning to launch mainnet in November. Am I right?
Yes.
So where are you now? What are the milestones? What are you working on?
So we're going to have a public testnet with our new consensus algorithm called POSP in August, right? And then so we have the next 3 months to kind of like audit the code, improve the code base, and do several more iteration of testnets. And we hope to launch in November, December. I'm quite optimistic at this point because it seems like the tech team handle everything well. So hopefully, we can, reach the milestone with no delay.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's important. Not many teams can brag about it. That they're working on time. And how many people you have in your team?
So the office here, we have 26 people in the main office in Hanoi. we have a business leader in Singapore. So the total team is 27 at the
27.
moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a relatively good number
Yeah.
to provide good results, basically what you're looking into. And Long, I know Tomo is one of the statements that you're making, that you're gonna have almost um, obviously very fast blockchain. That is one thing, and second thing, it's gonna be almost without any fees. Like, it's gonna be very cheap to transact. How to
Yes.
achieve that kind of cheap blockchain, which users can actually use and not pay too much money for the transactions? Where is the magic?
So I think it have to depend on how many transactions
Of course.
the blockchain can process, right? We did 1,000 TPS in the testnet back in April, and we need to do more tests, right, in the next couple of months. But the goal is to keep at least 1,000, but ideally to get like 3,000 TPS per second on the mainnet.
Okay.
Which is like comparing to 15-second transaction per second of Ethereum is much better. So I understand that it's still like smaller number comparatively to like, for example, Visa network, right? And yeah, and if you think about the future, when there will be a lot of digital assets, right? A lot of token on top of blockchain, and
Yeah.
people like trading globally, and keeping a lot of assets on the wallet. We probably need to reach like 100,000 transactions per second. That kind of number. So one thing we are looking at is a sharding.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a research program on sharding at the same time with some other team like Zilliqa, Quackchain, and also Ethereum. So we will try to look into it, right? Have a feasible solution to scale further in the future. Yeah.
I've heard a rumor that you yourself or someone from your team went to a meeting with one big Korean company which is planning to make their own blockchain. I think it's Kakao. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Oh, okay.
What is the plan? Did you go yourself, or someone else went?
So I did go myself with also our lead blockchain researcher came to Jeju, Iceland.
Okay.
Right. So the event was hosted by Gravik, which is a subsidiary blockchain subsidiary of Kakao.
Okay.
They also invited several good teams such as like Quackchain,
Okay.
right, Oasis Lab, Chia Network, and Kyber, and several other teams there to talk about technology. Right. I guess they want to look into like what are the frontier technology right now, and how they can use own technology for their own blockchain.
So
Yeah.
did they get the picture? Do they have an idea? Do they need, because now I feel like many companies are trying to use blockchain only for publicity reasons, not for the actual use case, because it's not always the best technology to use. Sometimes it's enough to have a good, fast, reliable database, centralized database. So do you think there is a good use case for Kakao to use blockchain?
I think so, definitely. I think Korea have a lot of development on blockchain, and they
That's
are
true.
really paying attention to blockchain. One of the reason I think Kakao is in the very good position to use blockchain because they have a lot of data.
Oh
They
yeah,
have a
that's
lot of
true.
data. They have a lot of user, and the idea about blockchain is giving the control to the end user, right?
Yeah.
The end user can control the data and can control their own digital asset. And if Kakao decide to do so, they can make it in a massive scale compared to other companies or
Yeah.
other blockchain, right?
Yeah, many messengers are very centralized, and that's the way it is. And if Kakao goes in decentralized manner, I think it can, because now it has a very local reach. They have basically a small fraction of Asia, which is not small. I mean, it's relatively big, but it's not. It's far from being global. So yeah, maybe decentralization might be the way to go from, right?
Yeah,
Long,
I
yeah,
hope that's the trend of the future, right?
yeah,
We hope that's the trend of the future. That's so maybe in 5, 6 years, right? The end user, the mainstream end user, will not use Facebook or as a like Instagram unless they agree to give back the data to the end user.
yeah. This is what
So
is happening.
that would be really great, right?
That's true. This is what is happening now in Europe with GDPR. It's data protection regulation that came out recently, and now everybody here in Europe, every company here must inform user for how long it will store data, where it's gonna be stored. You know, basically, it's the first step from European Parliament, European Commission towards actually giving the rights to the end user, giving the right to own the data to the end user, and I think it's gonna spread further from Europe to other countries, other regions.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's a bit challenging for the companies actually to provide this data ownership to the user because you need to have certain infrastructure in place, and
Right,
blockchain
right.
is actually a good fit for that. So I think we'll see more and more use cases where actually users will own their data in the
Yeah.
future, and hopefully that's going to be the case. Long question for you regarding the whole last year ICO market that was booming. Now it's going a bit down. We have
Okay.
less projects that are actually delivering on their promises. We have projects that are actually appear to be not, I don't know, some exit scams and etc., and kind of ruin the name for the ICOs, and the whole scene now is very uncertain. And what do you
Right, right.
how do you feel about the ICO market? What is the future of it? Is there a future?
I think ICO market have a lot of potential, right? There will be the whole market will be like multiple time more bigger in the future. But I think in the short term, right, the retail investor tend to be very bearish
Yep.
and irrational over the short term, especially like yeah, the price is going down like 2% every day, and it hurts, right? It hurts, and you sell, you don't care about it anymore. So um, it can go like below the fundamental value of the whole industry,
Yeah.
right? Uh, but I mean, like, as long as the thesis is right, right? That is the end user should own their digital asset and data. And if we are moving fast enough, we're moving the technology to work like towards the mainstream user,
Yeah.
and they know the value. And I think the market will go up again, right? Maybe like 2, 3 years. But we still very early in the whole kind of like adoption curve of blockchain technology.
And for you, dealing with post ICO stage, you have community, you have your
Mm-hmm.
token in the secondary market, you have all different stuff that regular startups that are doing VC funding they don't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the difference, like, from your perspective as a founder, as a CEO? I'm personally very interested. The post ICO life. How is there post ICO life? What is it?
Okay.
How does it
Um,
look like?
I think the like I also did like regular startup between NDM and TomoChain. I
Yes.
also formed kind of like regular e-commerce startup, and I think uh, blockchain startup tend to be very global
Yeah.
and have very big community element. Right, you have to talk with your community, and who actually are also your investor, right? So
Basically,
I think
keeping the contact. This is
yeah,
important.
keeping the kind of like making everyone like happy is
Yeah.
impossible, but you have to be optimistic and giving that attitude to your community.
Yeah, that's important because with this bearish market, I think I spoke with one project and they mentioned, we're a bit tired of our community saying, everything is gonna pop, this is a bubble, and like our community managers are like, all the time they're like gray and with a bad mood, and they want, everything to become better, but they don't know how to make it. So there is this pressure that they feel. Do you feel pressure from your community? Do you feel support from your community? What's the relationship you have?
I actually still chatted with our community quite often, right? At least one a day,
Okay,
right? I
nice.
came to the Telegram and have some chats with the communities, and if of course there are like 15,000 community member, right? And if sometimes some people are negative, right? I just ignore him, right?
Yeah.
and the good thing is if you have a good community, right, and then the positive community member will go
Will
for you,
support you.
will help you, will support you. So that's a very nice thing about blockchain startup. Yeah.
There was one case where actually one Lithuanian startup um, their token went down and community was upset about that, and then they released a statement that, guys, it's not about short flip, it's about long term, and when you don't even have the product yet, uh, why would you expect, some fluctuations there, and like it's just speculative market there. The actual utility is going to be when the product is going to be there, and then you can, expect some real value there, right? So that was the
Mhm.
answer, and I think some of they lost the part of their community which was expecting a short flip, but
Mhm.
that's how it is, right? uh,
And
you don't expect it, you shouldn't expect any returns. Basically, you buy it for the utility, so that's the value, right?
yeah, I also have another point that's um, like in 2015, 2016, right? Like the market tend to be bearish and investor become very short term and sell everything. But then that's mean like opportunity for investment as there. If you actually understand technology, you talk with the team, you understand the project, then you have a chance to make a lot of money in the bearish market. So we have the bull market, and then we have to have the bearish market.
Of course.
Otherwise, yeah, that's the way it is, right?
And what do you think, where we are now in terms of market? How do you feel? Like, what is the situation now in the market? I mean, not yesterday, not today, like in general.
I think the bear market still have like at least 3 to 6 months to go,
Yeah.
right? Until a like more stabilization phase, right? And then so we can go up again. I think in the bear market, like everyone is selling,
Yeah.
right? But when it's stabilized a little bit, then good project will come out on top,
Yeah.
right? Because if you look at the, like, for example, top 20 projects in 2015, you will see some different projects compared in 2017,
Yeah.
right? So in the 2 year, 2015 and 16, good project is coming out on top, and bad project is going into like nobody remember about them anymore. So yeah,
It's about delivering, basically. It's about working and
yeah.
not paying attention to the roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
That you're.
So for the project and for the team, pay attention to your product, right? Deliver value, and also for investor, right? It actually is a time you can pick a good project, right, and support them.
Um, I was about to ask you already, like, answered my partially answered my question that I was about to ask about what is the suggestion, what is the tip that you would like to give to the projects out there that are working on a blockchain, on decentralized solutions, on a dApps in this bearish tough market. What is this suggestion? What is the, your tips from your side that you would suggest, to focus on?
I think like if you haven't have enough money, then it's a little bit tough right now to raise funds, right? So manage your budget and manage the team progress, right? Um, I still saw a lot of big investment into the industry, but they mostly going into like big project, established project. Um, so for me, I feel like ICO is going to look like VC.
That's actually
So
right. It's we see more and more equity deals together with token deals, right? In the
mm,
industry, that's also
yeah.
one of the cases. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, in a nutshell, you would say they should stay positive and everything is gonna be okay, right? for, for the projects. Um, Okay, Long. So, thanks so much. I know you have a meeting very soon, so I won't take any more of your time. Thank you for coming on online and joining our live stream. Hopefully, we'll have you online more at some time. So, for the community, you should expect Long to come online maybe once again, once in a while. So thanks again for your time. Thanks for those watching us for coming online and sharing your time with us. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Nathan. It's great talking with you. Right. So next time maybe you can we can have a interview with you for the TomoChain community as well.
Of course, would be a pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah.